Charlize Theron just revealed something that left fans speechless, and no, it wasn't about a movie role or a red carpet slander. It was personal, in a jaw-dropping moment on the Carol at Daddy podcast. The Oscar-winning actress can friends to a one-night stand with a 26-year-old but that wasn't even the widest part because what started as a playful confession quickly turned into one of the most brutally honest and empowering conversations about sex, aging, and power we have ever had from in Hollywood A-lister. So why is Charlize suddenly so open about a private life? What does this say about her and the way society treats women over 40? And what she said next changed everything. When Charlize Theron sat down for the call at Daddy podcast on July 1st, no one expected what came out from her mouth next. Calm, confident, and completely unfiltered, she leaned in and casually dropped the bombshell. She recently had a one-night stand, but not just with anyone, with a 26-year-old. Yes, you heard that right. Charlie's academic award-winning actress, red carpet royalty, and one of the most private A-listers in Hollywood suddenly peeled back the curtain of her personal life in a way that no one saw coming. And it wasn't just the age, the friends that caught people off guard. It was how she talked about it, with zero shame, total clarity, and even a little pride. I think I've had maybe 3 one-night stands in my whole life, she admitted, but a 26-year-old, it was really amazing. She did not laugh it off. She did not downplay it. She said it plainly like a human who knew exactly who she was and did not care who was listening. But this was not just about a fun night, and she kept talking. It became clear this was not a gossip moment. It was a personal turning point. And what she revealed next about aging, confidence, and sex might just change the way people see it and themselves. And that is when things really got interesting for Charlize. Then wasn't just about hooking up deeper, a shift that only came with age. I found this freedom in my 40s, she said, almost in horror of myself. And honestly, you could hear the clarity in her voice. This wasn't a woman realizing that she had finally stopped living for anyone else's expectation. She spoke about her younger years, about the quiet pressure to perform, to be perfect, to make all the people comfortable, even in the most intimate part of her life. And then, just like that, she drew the line. No more of that. Now she's living on her terms, and it shows. There was no apology, no nervous laugh, no hesitation, just pure self-ownership in her 20s and 30s. Charlize was seen as a sex symbol, but in her 40s, she's the one setting the terms and that changed everything. She wasn't chasing validation. She was not trying to prove she still got it. She already knows she does, and that, more than anything, is what made the story so powerful. Because for once, we weren't hearing about a celebrity clinging to youth. We were watching a woman embrace the hell out of her head, but the confidence that came with it, that was just the beginning. So what was mystery 26-year-old? Charlie did not name names, and honestly, she did not need to. The internet already dubbed him the luckiest man alive, and Charlie, she agreed, king of. I mean, he's walking the front today, joked the host. Charlize laughed, brushing it off with a sly smile and a cheeky, "Oh my god, if I'm sure it's not, but thank you." The moment was light-hearted, but the internet ran with it. Memes, tweets, Reddit trends, it blew up. People were upset. Not just the guy, but the Charlize energy and honesty, the unapologetic way she talked about her personal, her own pleasure. Because let's be real, how often do we see women in Hollywood, especially women over 40, speak like that? With zero insecurity, no need to defend themselves, and absolutely no shame in enjoying something just for the fun of it. She wasn't looking to shock people. She was just being honest, and that authentically it had. It wasn't some PR stunt. It was Charlize Theron, Oscar winner and cultural icon, casually confirming that she still got it and is not afraid to enjoy it. And if that wasn't already refreshing enough, what she said next would flip the script on everything we thought we had knew. Confident woman in the bedroom, just when it seems like Charlize's story was all fun and flirtation. She pivoted and she said next was the real art of conversation. She began tagging a strange pattern she's noticed, one that has come up not just in her own life but in conversation with other women over the years. According to Charlize, the women who appeared the most confident, the ones who outspoke, assertive, the kind that seem like they've never backed down. They're often the same woman who turn into pleasers behind closed doors. And she wasn't talking about emotional availability, she meant physically in bed. They don't ask for what they want, they don't speak up, they don't too focus on making some sure the man is satisfied. And Tarizi admitted she was one of them. I spent most of my life worried about male pressure, she said. I wasn't focused on me, and it is the same story I hear from so many women that honestly it's like a gut punch because this what is some sexism bragging about how good things are now. It was a woman opening up about how she had spent years putting herself first, even in the midst of personal, intimate moment of her life. And the widest part, this is Charlize Theron we are talking about. If she struggled with this, how many others are silently doing the same? But don't worry, she did not leave it there, because what came next was the advice every young woman needs to hear. After laying it all a past pattern, the years of putting male pressure first, Charlize did not just stop at confessing. She turned it into a technical moment, not preaching, not scripted, just real. And a message, crystal clear: stop doing that. Don't make it all about them, she said firmly. According to Charlize, the biggest shift did not come from some grand revelation. It came the moment she decided to stop editing herself in the bedroom, to stop pretending she did not have need, to stop making herself smaller for the sake of someone else's ego. But once she flipped that switch, better organism, better connection, better everything, she said without missing a beat. She made it simple. If you want better intimacy, if you want to actually feel something real, you have got to be honest about what you want. You have to show up for yourself first, not as an afterthought, not as a reward for good behavior, but as a basic standard. And to every younger woman listening, and advice came from experience, not judgment. You did not own any one performance, she said. You did not owe yourself honesty. It wasn't about justice, it is about power. About unlearning habits. We are taught from the start to be polite, to not take up space, to make sure everyone else is comfortable, because we even think about ourselves. But Chari is done with that, and she is giving every woman watching permission to be done with it. And what happened when she started living the truth? That is where public reaction took over. The moment Charlie's episode hit the internet, it erupted. Clips from the podcast flooded TikTok, headlines splashed across gossip site, and fans light up Twitter with reaction that ranged from stunned administration to full-on celebration. One tweet read, Charlize Theron pulling a 20-year-old and giving TED Talk level intimacy advice icon. Another snippet said she is a model. But beyond the memes and viral soundbites, something deeper was happening. Charlize was not just trendy, she was starting a conversation, because for years, Hollywood narrative around age, especially for women, has been predictable. Fade quietly, don't talk about sex, don't act like you were still desirable, smile, age gracefully, and step aside. Charlize chattered all that in under 5 minutes. Our words did not just entertain, they resonated with old women who have been made to feel invisible, with younger women trying to unlearn what society taught them about pleasure and self-worth, even with men, some of whom admitted in the comment. This made me realize how often I've taken women's silence in bed as consent, eye-opening. The ripple effect was undeniable. Media outlets debated it, podcast analyzed it, people shared their own story every day. Because what Charlize did culturally, confidently, and without apology was flip the power dynamic on its head. She showed that owning our age, your experience, and your needs is not something to hide. It is something to celebrate. And in doing so, she redefined what it means to age out loud. But this wasn't just about shaking up tabloid and it was something bigger, a shift in how we think about desire, age, and control. And it all leads back to one thing: This wasn't just a using podcast moment or a viral headline. It was a cultural reset because Charlie did not talk about having one night that she made a statement about owning her identity at every stage of life, and that changes things. In an industry obsessed with youth, Charlie stood tall at 48 and basically said, "I'm not done, I'm just different, and honestly, I have never been better." The fact that she could talk about sex, power, and pleasure, not as something she's clinging to, but as something she's fully in control of, is what really shocked people. This wasn't a midlife crisis, it was a midlife awakening, and people were listening. Because we don't hear enough story like this woman who aren't afraid to admit that they are still learning, still growing, still evolving, and still enjoying it. Charlize did not ask for permission to feel sexy, confident, or curious. She just did it. And in doing so, she gave permission to millions of others to do the same. Whether you're 26, you're 46, our message landed the same way. You don't have to shrink yourself to be loved. You don't have to be silent to be accepted, and you definitely don't have to pretend to be someone you are not. A story was not about age gaps or celebrity hookups. It was about reclaiming your own narrative, saying yes to yourself, even when it makes other people uncomfortable. That is Charlie's effect. She did not just share a moment, she sparked the moment, and the truth is, it is not about who she slept with, it is about who she is finally become. Drop your thoughts in the comment section and hit the bell, subscribe, like, and to know more deep dive in hip hop story.